So I had the pleasure of meeting Zach in Dallas a few weeks ago at the mid-year meeting, and just a really cool guy. And was like, "Hey, man, got to hear his story, loved it, and he agreed to be one of our guest speakers on our call, and super pumped." So Zach just hit his 1 year anniversary. Okay, so he's only been here for pretty much exactly a year. He started his business living in Montana, one of the most beautiful states in America, and he actually currently just moved to Oregon. So where Zach is right now, it's 5 a.m. So that's pretty hardcore to be committed to be on this call at 5 a.m. his time. He grew up in Massachusetts, in central Massachusetts, and he played football pretty much his entire life, and he ran track and played tennis in high school as well. He started working at 10 years old because he grew up with addict parents, and he never had the opportunities that a lot of his classmates had at a young age. He had earned scholarships to college, but had to quit after his first year of college to support his family, to support his parents. What is that, 18, 19 years old? Holy smokes. He ran his own sole proprietorship, selling salty snacks to supermarkets for 3.5 years before selling and moving out west because there wasn't any growth in that career. He's written several Eagles, over 6 Eagles so far. He's written over a dozen greenouts and several Globe Weeks. And last year, even though he started in the middle of Q3, he earned the Q3 trip last year, even though he only had a short amount of time to earn it. And he's definitely going to be there again this year as well. So we'll be able to see him in person here in a few months. And he's got his first direct recruit, and he's got 2 more people who are currently getting licensed. And then he's got additional 2 more who are potentially getting hired, who are about to go through the onboarding steps. So he is really starting to grow his team. So he's sold a bunch of insurance his first year, top producer. And he's starting his second year, really focusing on growing his team. So guys, we're going to hear Zach Sandman. He's just going to talk about his story and just what's helped him be successful. I'll pass it over to you, Mr. Zach.
All right. Good morning. And good morning, Miss Alice. I see you on here. I got to hang out with you a little bit in the mid-year meeting too. So I hope to see you in Puerto Vallarta as well. But yeah, I mean, like I said, when I started this career, so when I moved to Montana, I took the job at a hotel. They have like the Montage luxury resorts that they have in like North Carolina. They got one in Deer Valley, Utah, Cabo, Mexico, Laguna Beach, California. And it's like supposed to be a really like Forbes #1 rated hotel in like the world. So I thought it was a really great opportunity. Turned out to be just another shafty corporate job. Did that I was part of the opening team November of 21. Luckily I did meet my girlfriend there, and we did that for a couple months together. I went home for my grandfather's funeral, came back and got fired for probationary period reasons. So again, just with the corporate jobs, not really, appreciative. We were understaffed and everything. They still just let me go. So, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me, because that's how I found Globe Life's job. I was searching through Indeed, and Devin Beck was putting up ads all through Montana. So I responded to the ad and wrote the best cover letter of my life, trying to, seeing that only 20% of people get to the application process, even, to consider for an interview. And then just like really just started grinding hard on it. It took me a little bit to get onboarded because I had some things planned to go back east for trips and so on. And started, like I said, eventually started July 5th last year. And Anna Demers was my trainer. I have nothing but great things to say about Anna. She is an absolute rock star. And actually, without her, I probably wouldn't even be here, because the week before I joined Sales Academy, my car broke down. So from July to March 1st of this year, I had to share my girlfriend's car and go to work every day in Montana. So I'd drop her off at work. I'd work 6 hours, come back and pick her up, and then go home. And I was doing about, 36 hours a week, trying to work Monday through Saturday, which again, isn't really working the system that we preach. So I try not to tell as many new people that. But again, that's one of the freedoms this job brings you, is that when things go poorly, you can, you don't have to call out of work and get fired, right? You can just make things happen around your busy schedule and around the things that come up and try to stop you. So hit my quick start in 12 days in the field. So 2 weeks and 2 days. And again, the reason I say I was taking Anna so much is because with my car broken down for that long, when she was training me, she would drive from Helena, Montana She would drive from Helena, Montana, to over to Bozeman, where I was, which is about 2-hour drive or so, every single morning, and then drive me to Livingston, which is another 30 minutes, is where my opening territory was. So she was putting 5 hours of travel in just to pick me up and then drive herself home and then teach me in the field. So literally nothing but amazing things to say about Anna. Without her, I would not be here. And of course, learning from her sales style, she's ruthless. She doesn't, when people tell her no or be rude to her, she gives it right back. Like I remember she would just like shrink men behind counters who thought they could like tell her off. And she was like, one guy had 30, 40 employees and he wasn't even the owner of the business. His wife was. And she was like, she was like, oh, I just want to, give this opportunity to all the people who work here. If they couldn't work, they're probably going to be pretty SOL. And, this guy was like, oh, no, we're not interested. She was, really? You just made that decision for all 35 of them? And I was, that kind of, gave me an insight of selling with confidence and being assumptive, So, yeah, I just, I hit my quick start 3 months in. I won my first Traymore in Great Falls, hit my first Eagle. And that was the last qualifying week for the Puerto Rico trip last year. So I had sold like 13,000 and I had secured the trip for 2. So I got to go to Puerto Rico, which is my first time out of the country. I mean, I know it's still a territory, but a tropical place, getting out of the States. And then as I said, just kept on grinding and taking notes and learning from some of these great people like John Devine and Devin Beck and Michael Brown. And just kind of taking all the little nuggets of information I could and trying to implement their selling styles with mine. Just took a bunch of notes and then, like I said, just hit 200,000 right before my 1 year mark on July 5th, and been trying now to get more to the growing side of things. I had my first field recruit back in February. He came up to Montana in March. My friend Troy Coles, he didn't work out. We just let him go. He didn't meet his marketing agreement. We gave him a probationary month. He still didn't meet it. He just had other things going on in his life. He was also living in Massachusetts, where we don't have policies available. So he was having to sell in Rhode Island, and about the median average income in Rhode Island is about 30,000 a year. And it was mostly a Spanish speaking state that he didn't speak Spanish. So it didn't work out for him, but I was kind of disappointed because he's one of my best friends. And he actually reached out to me to get this opportunity, seeing how well it was working for me. But now with that said, I brought my brother to the mid-year meeting, and he is taking his license test today, actually, in Florida. Another friend of mine from Virginia that I had lived up in Maine with for almost a year, he is onboarding as well right now. We hired him about a month ago, and he's doing the online course now. And then I just had a shadow day yesterday with another guy from Oregon. He drove 4 hours from Southwest Oregon to come see me yesterday and shadow me to see the opportunity, because he's been working selling solar, and he used to sell Terminex extermination products. And he was just like, shadow me in the field. He goes, yeah, this is it. This is what I want to do. Like, what do you do? Call Devin, tell him I'm awesome, that you love me, and that you're going to hire me now? I said, yeah, pretty much. So working on building my team. I'm doing another shadow day tomorrow. And I just kind of want to get the focus on like giving this opportunity to as many people as I see, because like I said, it's 1 year in. I mean, I knew about 3 to 6 months in that, once the hard part was over and it became second nature and I wasn't driving home in tears every day, that this is going to be my career for the rest of my life. Like, this is it. It's not an easy job, but it's simple. Like Dylan Buck says, simple, not easy, but God, is so worth it. There's nothing else like this in the world. So that's pretty much my story of how I got into it, what I did. Yeah, open to any questions or comments or.
Dude, that is awesome. Holy smokes. Lots to unpack there. I love hearing that. Just, the grind at the very beginning, and you were I didn't know that you didn't have a car when you first started. So making this career work, this career is already hard enough, and not having a vehicle makes it even harder. So
yeah, literally, I mean, I don't know anything about cars. I did a lot of construction jobs when I was like, when I stopped going to college, I did paving, asphalt, concrete, hardscape, landscape, roofing, gutters. I mean, I did custom cabinetry for 3 years. I did a lot of hard physical jobs, but I never knew how to fix a car. One thing I never knew was fixing a car. So when my car broke down, luckily my buddy I told you I hired, Troy, it was his car, and he's a car guy. So he actually gave me that car 3 years ago when I moved to the city. And then because he owed me, he was like, hey, I'm going to clear my debt with you. Take this car. I was like, okay, cool. So when he flew him out to Montana, I was like, hey, man, my car it doesn't work. Can you come fix it? So first day before I went on the field, he just fixed it up for me. And I was like, sweet, now I got my car back.
That's awesome. What this career can do for you can change your life just like that. Now, just a couple quick questions, and then I'll let the audience ask any questions. because you had a good solid first year. You rode over 200K in your first year, even without a car your first several months. What is maybe one habit or skill that you really helped you stay on a good schedule so you could hit those goals? Like, what is maybe one or two habits that like you've done that has really helped separate you from being average, Zach? Like what is one or two things that's really helped you excel at a high level?
So when I first started teaching calls for our agency as well, I just teach healthy habits. Like I'm a big believer of mental and physical health going together. So like when I first started this job, I rechanged my schedule to get up at 5 a.m., get to the gym by 5:30 or 6, no later than 6, and do my workout. And it's my routine Monday through Friday, go to the gym at 6 a.m. and get home. You're more awake. You've had your energy. You've got let's all be real, sex sells. Now you got a little bit of a pump, and you look good in your shirts, and you go out in the field, and people talk to you a little easier. And I just think that if you don't take care of yourself physically, then your mental is not going to be where you want it to be either, because you're always going to have these doubts about yourself. So physical health and mental health go together very, very well, and without one, you don't have the other. Like even if you go to the gym every day, but you're not sitting here studying the sales talk or reading other people's eagles or just taking notes on calls like this, like you're not gonna grow, So I'm a firm believer of getting up early, getting to the gym, getting your workouts in, coming home, doing your thing, doing your calls, and then going out in the field as soon as it's all over, or be in the field. Like I saw one of your guys here, so was in his car already, so that's great, Just sticking to a routine. My friends have always said for years, I am a creature of habit, a creature of routine. It makes things so easy.
Holy cow. Just one other question on top of that is just what is maybe also one skill that you've gotten really good at doing just by being here? You're about a year in. Like, what is one or two skills that you've really developed that's really helped you go to the next level of your career as well?
Assumptive selling, assumptive closing, just being assumptive in general. When I first went on the field, like I said, Anna was in Texas for the mid-year meeting. So when I got out of sales academy, I was like, all right, just go fall on your face. And I got my teeth kicked in. It was hilarious. I walked in and I was just like, a walking advertisement. I didn't ask people questions. I didn't personalize it. And I was always like hesitant to be like, yeah, so, if you can, we can sit down and look at it, And I walk in and it's just like, hey man, like I like to ask people a lot about what they do first when I walk in. I know I got this big old leather bag, with all my stuff in it. So they kind of know I'm there for a reason. But I walk in and I'm like, dude, look at this place. This is cool. Like, where did you get that? What do you guys do here? How long is this company, the kind of sales side, how long has the company been around for? But get them talking about their business, because I want to sit you down and talk about my business for 10 to 20 minutes. So I got to show some interest and then you get your chance to do the same thing first to build some solid rapport, break the ice easier. Just be a customer first and then be like, hey, this is also what I'm doing. Like the reason I came here today is I'm talking with all these local businesses and showing them this, but I wanted to understand what you guys do first. And now I know it's a great fit, right? So be a customer first, ask questions about what they do so you can show interest that you care what they do, and then they might show more interest in what you do. And then just that assumptive closing. Like when I finish the benefits and the prices, I don't even ask what the application. I just go, all right, great. How do you spell your last name again? Where do you live? And I go straight into the application. They don't even know they're being signed up until I hit the cost page and say, hey, so you said this works for you, right? You said this is a fair budget. You can make that work. And they're already like, yeah, it's like Mitch McKinney always says, you don't go to Subway, tell the guy what you want, build your whole sandwich. And right before you catch it, he goes, you sure you want the sandwich? Like, yeah, of course, you just built it.
That I've never heard that before. I like that. I'm going to write that down.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, guys. Well, any questions from the audience? We're going to open up to the audience. Any questions for Mr. Sandman?
That might be the best line I've ever heard about the sandwich thing.
Yeah, I learned that from Mitch McKinney down at University 201. He was just talking about that. He's like, you literally go there, you pick the bread, you pick the meat, you pick the veggies, the toppings, the everything, the condiments, and then it's like building the need with our product. You tell them, what have you done? Who do you know? What have you gone through? What with the kids? And they tell you what their concerns are. They're building their whole need the whole time. And then people always hear like, all right, well, we can take your money now. We just say, okay, great. This is going to work for you. It sounds like it works. And,
That is awesome stuff, guys. Any questions for Mr. Zach? All right, Zach, if nobody speaks up, I do got one or two other just basic questions. Just, one is just, now that you've been here about a year, what is your daily? So I know you went over your morning routine. What is like an average schedule, like a weekly schedule for you look like nowadays?
Generally, like I said, get up at like 5:30, get to the gym. Sorry, I got some dogs here. Hi, buddy. I'm always out in the field by, 9 a.m. because there are a lot of businesses that don't open until 9 or 10 anyways. So I don't really, I want to get my 8 hours in. So if I'm going either 8 to 4, 9 to 5, try to get my 8 hours in that way. When I was doing more time training people, sometimes I'd be on the field by 10, but I don't like being out that late. You feel terrible about it, but work out at 5 or 6, get home, shower, calls, out in the field for my 8 hours, no matter what time that is. I've had, when I was still in Montana, I was doing somewhere I'd go 12 to 8, 1 to 9. It just happens sometimes, so anyway, I can get that 8 hours and I'll do it. But I like when I have, a calendar full of appointments. So if I wake up and I see my schedule is just all appointments, one after another, hour, that's a better day because I less cold calling I can do and just get referrals from them to fill my calendar again. It's just much easier. And I can be like, all right, I'm going to go from this place to that place, to this place to that place. And, maybe have a lot less contacts in the day, but sorry about that phone. It's not mine. Yeah, pretty much like I said, get my workout in, get my 8 hours in, come home, and then it's just like hang out with the dogs, take them for a walk, watch my TV shows, make some calls.
Awesome. Now, what is, your business that, are you like, I know you just moved to Oregon, so obviously you're doing a bunch of cold calling right now, but because you just moved to a brand new state, but were you mostly like, were most of your sales your first year just from walking in the first time, or did you get pretty good at setting up enrollments for yourself, or was it all B2B to B2B to B2B? What did that kind of look like over time?
Yeah, when I first started, it was a lot of cold calls to close. Like I was very bad at setting appointments because people would be like, all right, come in on this day at this time. And then they wouldn't put it on their calendar. And then I'd be like, all right. And I'd put it in my notes and not on my calendar for some reason. And I'd go back that day and they'd be like, oh, yeah, well, today's not a good day. We didn't leave time for that. I'm like, well, you told me to come there. So now that's like the first 3 months, 100 demos, whatever it is, like learn really quickly. I was like, all right, I'm not leaving here without you telling me no, or are you telling me yes today, or are you saying not today, but yes, and I say, before I leave anywhere, I said, let's pick a date and time. I say, I'm sure you're busy right now. I know I just walked in and bombarded you with this, but I'm showing all these people, and it's very important that you see it too. My job, I don't say the whole, I know people are saying recently in Sales Academy, they're teaching, I get credit just for showing you. I never say that. I think that is disgusting. Because first of all, it's a lie. We don't. Like, I get paid on commission. My job, though, is just to show this to you and give you the opportunity to make a sound decision. Whether you pick it up or not is not on me. I can't want it more for you than I want it for myself, but it's my job to show it to you. So give me the opportunity, 5 to 10 minutes to show this to you, and I'm sure you'll make a good decision. In the first 5 minutes, you'll know if you want it or not. You can kick me out and never see me again, or you'll be like, this is great. Let me see more. So when I walk into a place, I'm either getting told no, I'm getting told, yeah, let's do it now, or you're putting me on your calendar. And if you tell me, yeah, let's do it now, you don't make a decision today, that's fine too. But put me on your calendar. I'm coming back at a certain day and time, and you're going to know when that is.
Boom. Wow, that was gravy. Holy smokes. Guys, write that down. Huge buying atmosphere. Yes, no, or a set appointment. Very important. One last little thing. What are your goals for this year? Like, is your goal to potentially build your team, hitting up market? Like what are maybe some personal goals that you have for yourself, Zach?
Yeah, definitely wanted to have. I want to finish the year with at least 3 people on my team. When I started my VPF sheet back in Q1, I think my goal was 200,000 for the whole year, because it's actually my first full fiscal year from Q1 to Q4. So I didn't know how close I was to hitting 200,000 when I hit my 1 year mark in July. So I was like, I just want to hit 200,000 this fiscal 4 quarters. But now I realized I already hit 200,000 my first year. So I want to try to shoot for 250, just see if I can up the ante a little bit. But it was more so like, if I can hit 200,000 again and just grow a team, that's more my focus now, is trying to be a leader for some of these people who can get the same opportunity as us. like I said, with my brother, especially onboarding right now, getting on my team, like it's going to mean more to me to see him succeed. So yeah.
Boom. That's awesome. All right, guys. That's all I have for Mr. Sandman. Anybody else with any last questions for Mr. Sandman?
I have a question. This is Victoria in Indy. You were saying you trained a friend and it didn't work out. How did that go? I'm kind of in the middle of that right now where I'm training a friend and, I'm kind of struggling with him a little bit. Just kind of like walk me through that.
Yeah, so I also don't know if I did the proper steps of training. Like I flew him out from Massachusetts to Montana for his very first week to work in the field with me. And like, I did like the first day, he just shadowed me. But every time I got through an approach and they're like, yeah, let's sit down, look at the demo, do the full demo. What I did was just to get him started. I was like, all right, like I did the full demo. You saw how that was. You were taking notes. I saw. Now get used to the application. You can sign this person up. So I did that third and I gave him 3,800 in sales his first week. So I thought that'd be a good start. Then after we did that first week, I flew back to Rhode Island with him and we worked Rhode Island together for a week as well. We were just alternating. I do a business, you do a business, I do a business, you do a business. So I trained him very thoroughly. And then it started not working out. Once he went back on his own, he was struggling. And I'd call him every single day, do my daily trainer calls, call him this time, that time, talk to him. Really, he'd call me every couple of hours through the day. Yeah, I got to a point like a month in, he didn't make a single sale. I told him about train mores and T3, and I was like, man, like I think that's what you're doing wrong. You should work on your sales talk here. I can only do so much. After 2 full weeks of training in the field and a full week on a train more with him, his third week, I just got to, I talk to him every single day and I do all I can, run through the sales talk with him. But he had a lot of personal stuff going on in his life and he was kind of losing his integrity and telling me he was gonna, that he was working, but his stats weren't showing it. He wasn't doing his stats. So I didn't really have any reason to believe him. And then he was just letting silly things get in his way, fighting with his fiance and, she wasn't supportive of his career. And I told him right off the bat when I hired him, I said, listen, if you can't go home and have a shoulder to cry on and have someone who supports you and tell you you're going to be fine, you're going to be able to do this. If you go home and you're getting yelled at, you're getting fought with because you're not making money right away, this isn't going to work. And that's exactly what happened. So when he didn't sell his 10,000 in a quarter, we told him like, we'll give you 1 month probation to do that. And he didn't. And I said, listen, man, at this point, we're not even like, this kind of works for you. Like we're holding you back from going on and getting another job to make money for you to support your family. So that's something that we should look at. I was like, you're licensed, you have the knowledge. I thought you were going to be great at this. And if you want to try again next year in the future, Devin said, that's okay. When your family situation changes and, you got a better situation at home, we can try again because it's the best opportunity. But for now, I think it's best, you just go make some money. So yeah, it was tough and I feel bad, but he's still my best friend. I still call him and he still supports me. He still wants to see me thrive here. And he knows the opportunity he lost. I think that's kicking him into gear to change his personal life around a little more.
Awesome. Thank you.
Of course.
Zach, awesome stuff, man. Well, guys, it is right at 8:28. It is 5:28 Zach's time, so it is time for Mr. Sandman to go hit the gym. Let's go.
Sure.
So, all right, Zach, thank you so much, man, for being on the call today, sharing your story. It was great hearing that, man. Hope we got lots of good notes. I got a lot of good notes myself. Just hearing that definitely got me fired up to go crush it on Thursday. So, guys, we're going to wrap up today's call. So, just remind you guys, the first 5 earners of the Q3 trip